good evening, good morning, good day, regardless, hello. I come to you in this video with some heavy news. A week ago today, the co-star of this channel, my dog, Puppy, Baxter, Stink, really I called him Puppy 9 out of 10, but his name was formerly Baxter. A week ago today, about this time, he died. He did what all dogs do, good dogs, young dogs, old dogs, they die. And I'm not going to elaborate a whole lot on what happened to him. I will say that I made this video 2 times, and I was so emotional. Even I'm not going to post it on my channel. It was just too emotional. I'm feeling a little better. You do adjust, you know. And, he was doing fine. I'll just say briefly what happened. We went Monday night a week ago. We went out for a longer walk than usual, and he was doing quite well, actually. Even a few people remarked on that. And he was looking good. His skin issue was clearing up, and we came home. We had a big dinner. Chicken, I cooked him his usual chicken, noodles, and 1 chicken thigh, you know, with a little seasoning, nothing poisonous, no garlic or onion powder. I'm very careful about what I feed him, and or what I fed him, past tense. And I'm very, very, very careful to make sure all the bones, if any, are out of his food. Because the next day I got up and called him into the kitchen and said, "Come get your cheesy egg." I cooked him and me both a big pan full of eggs with ham and cheese, you know, a little bit of mushrooms, and which he loves and I like too. And he came into the kitchen and he wasn't walking well. I noticed that something was wrong with him. And he fell over on his back and he went into a seizure. And I'm not going to get into details, but he started shortly thereafter. I went to the vet locally and they said they couldn't see him till the next day. And around that time, he started hemorrhaging blood out this way, a little at first and a lot. And I react, when things like that happen, I tend to pull it together like a clam, and I harden up inside and I do what I have to do. And I got him ready and I took him to the Cornell Animal Hospital, which is lucky to have it. They're quite expensive, but Cornell's an Ivy League school, and they train veterinarians there. And people come from all over the world to go to that college. And they've got a regular hospital for animals, like a 5-story place, and a lot of doctors, staff. And I brought him there, and he'd been there a couple times before with some problems he walked away from. But this time he didn't want to go in there, and I didn't lie to him. He was in bad shape, and it was heartbreaking. You better believe I was praying. And I just couldn't believe this was happening, you know. I said, I'm not going to lie to you. We'll take care of you. We'll do everything we can to get you well, my friend. I said, but there's a chance you may not be coming out of here, you know, alive. And I'm just telling you. I don't know why I told him that. There was a reason. I talked to him like I would, and he was, to me, he wasn't a dog anymore, or my pet. He was my friend. Seriously, he had equal rights in this house. He was my companion. I had been with him since he was 5 weeks old, and he's stayed with me, and he's been a loyal, true companion. And he sang along to my music, and I'll never find that again, I'm pretty sure. That dog really loved me, and I loved him. And I did my very best by him. So I gave him to the doctors, and I went in my car. They said they'd call me when they had news. the doctor called me, and veterinarian doctor, and she told me my dog was dying. And she wanted to know if I wanted to run more tests on him. I said, yes, definitely. You know, x-rays, blood work, sonogram. And she did. And I had the money for it, and I had a friend having just come back from vacation in France. And I was a little lean, but I had enough money to cover it. But my friend Tom, who I give him credit, pledged to me if I needed any more money, he would put it up front. So money was not an object. And thank you, Tom. So they run some tests, and she called me an hour later, told me to come in to talk to me. I left my car and went in hoping for the best. And she told me the x-ray and the sonogram, that's her examinations and imaging, did not seem to indicate that it was something that he had eaten. You know, like I was afraid maybe I forgot to take the chicken bone out of his thigh the night before. But I played it back, and I distinctly remember doing that and then tossing it in the garbage. She said she didn't see any evidence of that. She said in her words that she feared it was something, quote, far more insidious. And I had to look insidious up real quick, and it meant something bad for you that has been around for a while. In this case, she strongly suspected cancer that had, I don't know, she didn't explain to me, but I looked it up, and this can happen. You know, dogs and animals, if they got a stomach ache or they got pains and things going on, they don't tell you. You usually find out when it totally manifests itself, you know, and then sometimes it's too late. Not like you'd go in for a checkup or... I noticed my dog was having problems past few months. He had no energy and things like that. He was having some problems, but then he seemed all right. She thought he probably had cancer, and she said that his lungs had filled up with blood, that he'd aspirated it. And she did not give him any hope, really. She said he was really struggling. He was doing better, that they had the oxygen on him, but he was really struggling. And she said that he would have, at very best, a long stay in the hospital with little hope for recovery. And she honestly didn't think he was going to live, he could go at any time. And I said, did I do the right thing to bring him in? She said, absolutely, 100%. She had a basset hound, you know, a younger one. And she said that the dog, if you would have kept him home, he would have died and bled out, probably, and died and suffered a lot horribly. And let me get to this. I didn't want to give the details, but my dog had a very bad night, and it broke my heart because I know he was suffering hard all day. He couldn't lay down. Usually he'd lay down, but he was in too much discomfort. But he kept looking up at me with a look in his eyes like, make it stop, you know, somehow, and that broke my heart. I couldn't make it stop. So per her strong and good advice, and we talked quite a bit because I really deliberated, and she kept reassuring me that the right thing to do was to have him put down. And so we did. And I took my dog home, and I buried him out by the trail where I made the videos because he really loved it out there. Off to the side a ways so nobody sees it, hopefully. You know, big dog, it looked almost like a human grave. So I was pretty down. I made this video twice, and I said I'm not posting that. I mean, we've all been there, you know. Everything born dies. See, people said, would you get another dog? I said, I might, you know, I might, as much as it hurts, you know, that you're going to, good chance you're going to see them die, or they're going to watch you die. And they know when you die too, they suffer as well. I know plenty of stories about dogs, especially when their owner dies, that they go through a dramatic grieving process instantly. And I'll tell you a little story about that, about somebody I know pretty well. Her name was Donna, middle-aged woman. A Christian woman. I went to church with her and her husband. And I have absolutely no reason to think she would ever make anything like this up. She's a spiritual person too. And she told me that she took care of her father in his last days. And he got really bad. He had a dog that stayed in the room with him and was very close to him. And then they had to take him to the hospital because his condition suddenly got worse, like it usually happens. And he spent a couple days in the hospital and he died. And when he died, she said his dog completely flipped out the same minute that he died. That's what she understood. Because somebody at the house, when she was at the hospital with him, and she called home to give people the bad news, I think it was maybe her husband, somebody in her household said the dog up in his room went underneath his bed and would not stop howling. The very instant that he died, the dog started howling underneath his bed that was empty. He died in the hospital. And she said he wouldn't stop doing that for a long time. He wouldn't come out for a couple days. And she just told me that her father would reappear to her. And I said, really? What was he doing? She said that he would just show up and he'd be sitting in a chair where he usually sat. What would he do? He'd just talk about the family, how the kid's doing, and how's this one's doing, this and that. Like, he didn't seem to know that he died. And I said, well, what happened? And she was kind of weirded out by it, even though it was her father. And she would listen to him and talk, and she couldn't, she was a little weirded out, but it was her dad. And she said about the third day that he showed up to her like that, he got done talking. He was talking about the kids and just things around the house, like business as usual. And she looked at him and she said, Dad, she said, you're not supposed to be here. And he stopped talking and he looked at her and he vanished, and that was the end of that. He never reappeared again. But she was a very spiritual woman. I mean, I worked with her at my mom's business, and she attended to a lot of people passing on, and a very unique person, very spiritual Christian woman, Indian, American Indian too. But so animals suffer when we die, and we suffer when they die. When you get an animal, a pet, be it a cat, a goldfish, a dog, dogs bond so close. That's what hurts so much. It's like somebody told me, but when you get a pet, it's a contract to the end. Your end or their end. That's the same way with people too, isn't it? All relationships, even a house plant, everything, toenail fungus, born, dies, everything. But does it really? I mean, of course there's a Christian spiritual end to things, and that's what I believe, but I also believe science too. And the first law of thermodynamics is that matter cannot be created or destroyed. It only changes form. And I think when something dies and it's done with like my dog with his broken body, bless his heart, he had a horrible day a week ago today. A horrible day. And so did I. Not as bad as his, but it really was really hard. A lot of tears for about the first 3 days. I bawled a lot. What was I saying? Yeah, it only changes form. He was done with this life. And I grieved like I would grieve if somebody, a human member of my family or somebody I love like recently died. But it's not really the same with a pet for me, because animals are so innocent. And I did a video on animals and God according to the Bible, and I did a lot. I never realized it making that video. I did a lot of research on the Old Testament and New Testament, and I never realized how much is in the Bible, in both books, Old and New, that clearly indicate that God loves animals. And animals in the wild, our pets, farm animals, He cares about them quite a bit. And He cares about us a lot, even more perhaps. But you can go through the whole Old Testament and New Testament, and you will see evidence that God loves the animal kingdom. Definitely. I mean, there's so much in the Bible that clearly indicates God our Father loves animals. And Jesus was born in a manger, wasn't he? So, do they have a spirit? I believe they do. I'm not going to go into that. I mean, most people believe they do. I definitely believe they do. I can tell you I've encountered spirits of cats and a dog, and I'm not the only one, so it wasn't just me. And yeah, in all cases, it wasn't just me that encountered it. I won't tell those stories here as a tract. Does my doggy go to heaven? You know what? I want to believe he does, but I couldn't tell you definitively. I'll just trust a loving God, our loving God, who loves us, loved my dog, and he loves the fact that my dog and me loved each other, and the fact that I'm praying to him about my dog. And if, I couldn't save my dog, it was his time to go. But I'll just trust God for all things good, for me, for my dog, and I hope me and my dog meet again. And there's another, I officially put my dog on I've got a list I've had for years. The people, they don't even have to die to make this list. But I've got 2 dogs on that list. And I said, Lord, I want to meet this dog again. Or Lord, I want to meet this friend or Jen again. And there's a lot of people on it. People, I won't go down the list. But if we're supposed to have a life review, I feel this is like a film recording, documenting our lives and our words and our thoughts for the record. Lord, I want to meet this dog again with your blessing, if it be thy will. And I've said that about animals and people alike. And I'll just trust God for that. That's that. So, I buried my dog out by the track where I filmed all those timblab dog walks that I miss doing. I really miss it. I'll tell you what. I buried him out by there. And buried him deep. And it was hard. But I took care of it. And when I got home from the hospital and the dog was in the trunk of my car in a cardboard casket, first thing I walked in here, I just started grabbing all his stuff and bagging it and threw it all out. Except I kept some of his favorite toys and I call it his adventure harness. His thing with a leash attached to it was a harness that I walked him with because he loved. Every time he saw that, he'd, all right, I'm going for a walk. Yeah, let's go. He'd all of a sudden have all kinds of energy. Even when he was sick on Tuesday, when I got the leash, he was in pain, but he was still, all right, let's go. And yeah, we went to the car instead. And I'm not going to go into the details. But I buried his toys and his harness on top of him, with him, in his grave. And every time I threw a shovel of dirt on him, and his toys would squeak. Even when, I just remember that. Even after it was covered over, some of them would still squeak. So I buried that with him, and I can honestly say that I did my very best for that dog. And people that know me say that dog had it good with you. And I don't know, he didn't have a very good social life with me. It was just me and him. And my dog was a very social animal. But I did the best I could by him. From age 5 weeks when I got him, Jen picked him out actually. It was her dog initially. From age 5 weeks to that last shovel full of dirt on his grave, I did my very best for him. And giving him a good burial was the last thing. And prayers to God. But I don't think the dogs, they're so innocent, I don't think they really, it's not like there's a purgatory or hell for dogs, I'm pretty sure. It might be. You know some bad dogs? I know a few that were mean, but there's probably, who knows, there might be a reason, whatever. You know what I'm saying. I think my dog, I'm pretty sure my dog, if there's a good place doggies go, my dog went right there. And my dog was a social dog. When I got this dog, when I decided on a Basset Hound, Jen wanted a Basset Hound too, and I agreed with it, even though everybody told us don't get a Basset Hound. High maintenance dog. We got one anyway. And she picked him out of the litter, and because there was like about 6 of them, and they're only like this big. They weren't even fully weaned. And they were all asleep, except he woke up and looked up at her. She wants that one. That's how he was picked. Ooh. It's hard, it's hard. Can't imagine what a parent must be to watch a child die. That's what it felt like with this dog. Life goes on, the suffering's over. I'm feeling better, I'm recovering. I'm just glad that day is over. It was very hard on him and me, especially hard on my dog. Oh, that hurt so bad to see him suffer. And I couldn't help him. So, and I've had long, long talks with the vet, deliberating whether to have him put down, and looked her right in the eye. And I have a hard time with eye contact, believe it or not. This is a camera, so it's not so hard. But I've always been a little hard with eye contact throughout my life with people, and that's not a good thing, but I have been. But I looked her right in the eye and asked her some direct questions about what would you do, and what if money wasn't an object, and it isn't at this point. And I said, what would you say to me if there was something you could do, there's some hope that would save my dog's life? And I looked her right in the eyes, and she was about far away from me, the camera. And she said, I would have him put to sleep. I said, what would you do if he were your dog? And she said, the same. And, and some other questions. And I really studied to read her soul, to see if she was just telling me something. If they couldn't work harder or try something to save him. And she said no. You pretty much only prolong his suffering for quite a while, but he's not going to recover from this. Whatever she said is a cancer. Something had, I don't know what you call it, like a tumor burst through or something, And man, I wept. And I signed the papers. All right. So my dog, co-star of this, he died. No more dog walks right now, and I may get a dog someday. Not anytime soon, and especially not until I know what my living arrangements are going to be. They say it comes in threes, but I'm alone here now. They say I'm alone, well, I've got my dog. I don't even have my dog. It comes in threes. I lost my mother, as you know if you followed this channel. I lost a dear friend of mine in Jen, as you know, like recently, and she actually owned the dog, and the dog loved her. And about 3 months after she passed away, quite suddenly at a young age, the dog died. The 3 that I loved the most in my area, my children don't live around here, are all dead now. In less than 3 years, little 2.5 years of each other. All the 3 that I love the most are gone on to be with the Lord. So what's holding me here? I'm thinking like, God's shutting doors here for me. Maybe I'm next. I used to pray to God all the time. Lord, I'm so alone here. Something could happen to me. People don't check up on me. I could die. It may be a week before somebody says, somebody better go look in on him. I haven't heard from him. He's not answering his, text message. Nobody even calls me. They just text me. Somebody, maybe a week, maybe even 2 weeks before somebody actually comes. I could be dead 2 weeks. And that's why I always had 3 big bowls of water down on the floor. And a lot of food, extra food out, just in case, so that he'd have something to get by on for a while if I suddenly croak, which can happen to anybody, but I'm getting up there. I used to pray to God, if something happens to me, Lord, if I die in my sleep or whatever, take care of my dog. That's all I ask. Take care of my dog. Well, he took care of my dog. He's not here anymore. And it was quite sudden. I think that's the list of things I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, this may be a happen to timing, because an old friend of mine just so happened that her dog that she had for 9.5 years was terminally ill, and they gave the dog very little time, and they had to make a decision. And the dog was starting to suffer. And this person was communicating with me for any advice or consolation or words of strength, because they were dreading having to take the dog to the vet to have it put down. So I didn't really have much advice to give to her other than a few words, but it's going to hurt. But I know you'll do the right thing, and your dog would want you to be happy, and I recommend that you get rid of all their things afterwards. Get rid of everything, except pictures and things. But their blankets, their chew toys, their medicines, throw all that stuff out. I mean, be kind to yourself. Your dog would want you to be kind to yourself. My dog would want me to be happy. He would want me to cheer up. That's one thing about my dog. When my mom died, nobody came here. I had to go through that all alone. Same when Jen died suddenly, not very long ago. 3 months before my dog went. I had to go through that all alone here. But my dog, I hate to say this, but if I was weeping, my dog would come up to me like they do. He'd come up to me and nuzzle up to me and look me in the eyes, like they do. Man. Would I get another basset hound? I kind of think yes. They're a very high maintenance dog and hard to housebreak. But they have such a personality. But you got to know what you're getting yourself into. It's a lot. You're going to have to be very on top of their training and a lot of hands-on care with a basset. Their ears, their skin, their nails. And understand that their life expectancy isn't the greatest among dogs. Not the worst, but definitely not the greatest. But they have such a personality. So oddball. My dog was an oddball. Wonderful, wonderful companion. Was there anything else? Because I want to get this done and get on to other things. I made a dog walk video a week before my dog died or so. And I never published it because I don't know why. I didn't have much to say. I don't know. I didn't have much to say. But I'm going to attach this right after I'm done blabbing here. I'm going to roll that and a couple of pictures of him after that. My dog everybody loved my dog. On this road, I walk my dog every night, at least once, and everybody loved my dog. It wasn't me, it was my dog was the star of the show. And they would hear him bay to the accordion music, and they could hear it, and they're telling me around here they miss it, they liked it. They didn't tell me that before, but now they're telling me, yeah, I remember that, I missed that. They thought it was kind of neat. As I play my accordion, they could hear him, oh, oh. Yeah, you know what I mean. Everything that's born dies, and if I didn't get him for his 7.5 years of life, somebody else would have, and he would have spent his 7.5 years with them, and he would have died. I would have preferred he didn't die such a painful death, but it was only a day at most, and it was all over because I had to make a tough call per a lot of thought and deliberation with the veterinarian doctor. And so I'm just honored that I'm privileged that I'm the one he spent his life with. Sorry. It's like somebody said to me, said, that dog was a big part of your life, Tim, but you were all of his life. I never thought of it that way. The dog was part of my life, but I was his whole life. And that's true, it really was. Especially in the last few years where it's just me here with my dog. Wonder, hey, when's he coming home, or when's he going to get up and get me fed, or are we going to go for a walk, or, gee, Tim's bad. He's feeling sad, because I've had some deaths in the past 2.5 years. People I love dearly. And then he'd comfort me, tried to. And it worked. It was appreciated. So I'm honored and privileged that I'm the one he spent his life with here. Who knows, maybe he picked me. Now, no, there's no life. We don't pick, Look, let me think what I want to think. I know what the Bible says. I'm not saying I said maybe. I believe in the Bible, and I respect all of you that strictly follow it. But like I said once before, it doesn't say everything in there. And some of it's open for interpretation. Not the type of interpretation that a lot of groups and people are making today that is just plain sinful without going into today's social issues. But me saying, hey, maybe my dog picked me, said I want to be with him. I don't know. But I'll tell you, coming home, is hard. This household is a lot different without him. I never realized how alone I am until my dog's gone. It's totally different here without him. I mean, I'm used to cooking for two of us. And I was careful what he ate. I did a lot of research and talking to veterinarians before I cooked him food. I was very careful, and I manicured it by hand. Very careful. But I did the very best I could by him, cooking. I like to spoil someone, and I have my dog. But it's different here without him. Cooking out back's not the same. Playing my music, not the same. But I'm going to get back into my music, which brings me to the last thing I'm going to say on here. I was going to play a song. I'm learning it on guitar. It's a song I've loved for many years. It's called Going Home by Mark Knopfler, a guitarist, British guitarist I like a lot. Guy about a little older than me. Going Home, and I've been playing that song on guitar for a long time, but I know I'm not playing it right. So I actually bought the sheet music for guitar so I could play the song right. And I'm working on it. And I was going to do a tribute to Jen, a life tribute to her. And the dog was her dog initially. And she loved the dog, he loved her. Now he died right after her. Coincidence? So I'm going to do a tribute. Going Home is going to be a picture tribute with me playing guitar. God willing, I master it. And, I've been working on it, but I need to work harder on it. To both of them, my dog and her, through the years. I knew them both. The time that God gave me with them both, which I've definitely honored. Oh yeah, I don't know, maybe he met her on the other side. I don't know. I prayed to Jesus to give my dog a good, warm welcome. And like I said, my dog was a very social animal. I'm trying to cover everything I've thought of. This is the third time I've made this. I don't want to say, no, I got to go back and remake it because I forgot to say this and that. My dog was a very social animal. I wanted the most mellow, non-aggressive dog I could find. I don't need an attack dog. Like I said, all you got to do is bark. I'm the attack dog if someone's breaking into the house. You just let me know. I'll take care of it. He wouldn't even do that. I'll tell you what, he did growl at things that were unseen, and that was kind of freaky without getting into that, but he was kind of spiritually sensitive. I know he was, and he was afraid too. He was afraid of some things, and he'd come up to me, and he didn't like to be in the back at nighttime, and he'd growl at things. But other than that, my dog loved cats. He loved rabbits. One time I was looking out my kitchen window before I moved here, and he must have been about 2 or 3 years old. And he was in my yard, and I had a big yard surrounded by trees, so he could run free for more or less as long as I kept an eye on him. That dog never would run away. That dog's, you kidding me? He wouldn't run away. He was definitely one that liked his safety net right with the house and with me. You might have to worry about him running far. And I seen him in the lawn on a summer day, and then I seen a bunny rabbit. You know, this is my dog, and I'm watching here, the dog, and a rabbit's here in the lawn, and they're both looking at each other. It's just my dog sitting there, the rabbit's sitting there, and they're just staring at each other. I'm like, he's a rabbit dog. Go get him, boy. Show me what you got. It's in your blood. Right, I'm in the kitchen, like, let's see what he does. And the dog just sat there, and he looked at the rabbit. And the rabbit just sat there in front of him and looked at him. And I swear they were both like, oh, I'm in love. You know, they looked like, and the rabbit actually took a few hops towards him and stopped. I'm like, what? They're in love. I said, go get him, boy. It's a rabbit. He couldn't hear me. I'm indoors looking out. I wish I'd taken a picture of it, because he just didn't move. He just staring at it like, I love you. And the rabbit's like, I love you. That's what it looked like. And then the rabbit just slowly hopped off, and that was that. He even loved rabbits, and he's a rabbit dog. And he loved all people and all dogs, whether they loved, most didn't love him, you know how dogs are. He loved everything except chickens. I had a neighbor who let their chickens get in my backyard a few times, and he'd go after them. He didn't like chickens. I don't know what, who knows, but he loved everything else. So if he had a reception in heaven, like I asked Jesus, give my dog a good reception. And I know Christ would do that. And I can imagine my dog, if he saw people, like maybe people, you know, that he knew in his life, like Jen, or who knows, or other animals, or Jesus, my dog would have just went, ha, and would just run right to them and bite him, zoom out. He really loved social life, and that's the one thing I was not able to give him in his last couple of years, was much of a social life. He just had me, and watched me suffer through the death of a couple people that, you know, I loved very much. So, but I tried to make up for it as best I could. All right. That was my dog, and it's sad news, he's gone, but, you know, it happens. And I don't plan on getting another one anytime soon, if ever. I might. I accept, you know what you're getting into. Do like me. I took care of him right up to the last shovel of dirt on his grave, and that hard day, that was very hard for me, and expensive, and a very hard decision to end his suffering. You can do that for pets, but not people. All right, here's the video that I made, I think June 5th. The last Tim dog walk, timblab. I didn't post it, probably because I thought it was boring or something. But here it is, it's the last one, and a couple of pictures. So thank you, God bless each of you and your pets. And be strong, and God has this, God has all of it. He is my dog, He has you, He's got us all. We're going to suffer just like Christ suffered on the cross. And He was God's Son, and He was an innocent man. And He suffered. So all of us here, we're going to do some suffering. And same with our pets. So be strong. Sorry, another... All right. I made a Danon video. I just want to say this too. But I made the Danon video, the narration, before my dog died. And it's been so much editing work, putting the videos and photographs together. I haven't posted that yet. And yeah, a video show of Danon and Leon. So if I seem really upbeat in that, it was made before, I even talk about my dog in that video. He was still alive when I made the video. That'll be posted soon after this. It may be the same time. It's almost done. Here's the last timblab dog walk from June 5th. for whatever. Thank you. God bless. Take care. Down by the river here in Moravia. Beautiful day. Go ahead, puppy, lead the way. Dog walk and timblab, somewhere different. That's a fishing place. Now and then you catch trout out of here. I haven't been here in a while. People fish here. You can catch fish here, but it's not really that great, in my opinion. But I have seen some pretty good trout pulled out of here, not by me. He caught them. I've seen some carp pulled out of here mostly. Nobody wants to eat carp. The water's pretty low. I don't know where I'm going. I haven't been here in about 5 years. Though I live about 10-minute walk from here. Oops. Yeah, my last video I posted on the spiritual warfare, spiritual battle fought and won. You know, I go out on a limb with these because I know that's, for many are going to disagree with me. Are going to disagree with me. That you can't pray for somebody that's passed on. I never said this person went to hell. I don't believe they did. And I made that clear in that video in my own way. But I don't claim to know what happened to this person either. I just pray as I feel led to pray. And I pray to God to instruct me how to pray for these things. You better believe it. And for God also to let me know if I'm making any mistakes. I gotta find my dog. Puppy! Man, I don't want to lose my dog here. Puppy! Puppy! Oh God, where'd my dog go? Puppy! Oh great. Pause. There he is. All right. Well, I want to wish everybody a good day. And like I was saying, I go out on a limb a little bit. But I really wanted to give praise to God and Jesus. And I stand by everything I said. Everything. Pray as you feel led to pray from your heart. If you're in any question about it, pray to God for guidance and instruction. Turn to His Word. And that stands there. That's where it stands. I'm not ashamed to share my testimony. So, nothing disgraceful, or anything like that. Is it personal? Yeah, it's quite personal. You better believe it. And I didn't share everything. Most of it, but not everything. Not that personal. It's a spiritual walk. It'll be our home and our reality before each of us knows it. Okay. That dog doesn't get far. That's one thing about basset hounds. They're only going to get so far on those little legs. And that white tail's like a flag. Always waving around like a flag. Let's see where he thinks he's going. I'm going to make another one about the beaver dam. Just for the heck of it. Pal, I don't think you can get down that. I slipped going down this one. He may get down it, but you think you can get down there? You want to go down to the water's edge? Okay, let's go.
Oh, no problem at all. You want to go swimming? Yeah. I heard a guy in France. What the heck? Sound like a duck farting. I heard a guy in a restaurant in France. I don't know who it was, but I heard some guy laugh just like this. I heard that. I started laughing myself. I said, man, I'm never going to forget that. I'm not going to be able to unhear that. That's a French laugh, puppy. He could care less. Boy, this dog loves to get out. He's never been here before. He loves adventure. He's going to go on, go in. You're on your own if you do. It's not very deep in most places. I don't think he's ever been swimming. Let's see if he can get up that hill. Come on, let's go. Come on, can you make it up here? Yeah, no problem, Tim. Who do you think you're talking to? Piece of cake. I know over there, it's like a little peninsula because the creek runs around like that and down here. Over there, it's really sandy. And you could tell the people that lived in this village a long time ago, and the village is over there about a half mile, used to throw their trash in the creek because you can find really old cork bottles. Every year, new ones washed up in the sand. I've been meaning to get over there and walk around. Oh, where did he go? There he is. He wants to go more adventure. Let's go. Let's have a look. He's not going to be able to cross this. It's definitely a no cross zone for him. All right, I think that's it for right now. Let's go back to the car. Go back to where the food is. We're going to cook out again. I think I might make a video on how I do Cornell chicken, which is no big deal, but that's it. You're my company, YouTube. You're my company. So you get what you get. And again, on the video I posted recently about spiritual battles and something I went through that really was pretty powerful for me. Puppy, let's go. See the tail? Let's see the tail first. I don't take back a single word of it. And I did go into that quite prayerfully. If you ever see a basset hound that doesn't have a white tip tail, I've read, it's not a full basset hound. Because they were specifically bred to have a white tip so that you could see them. The French monks that bred them for hunting rabbits. So they couldn't catch the rabbit in the tall grass, but you would be able to see their tail flagging as they hunt down the rabbit for your dinner. He's a true wabbit dog. He wants to go swimming, don't you? You like it here. Oh yeah, he likes it here. Come on, pal, let's go. We'll come back. All right. Look at pretty colors, God's colors, huh? You know, as much as I like France, and I really loved it there, I've said that the land here is just as beautiful, if not more beautiful, than what I found there. We just don't have the culture. The Rance River, somebody said where I was at, somebody from New York pointed out on my Facebook, it looks like the Erie Canal, which runs through New York. And I have to admit, yes, it does look like the Erie Canal, but when you look at the castles and all the old restaurants and stonework and the way they built it up there, the Rance River makes the Erie Canal look like an irrigation ditch in comparison. I think I could connect to the land there. I've connected here. I don't know, it just feels like it's maybe time for me to move on. You'll come with me though. All right, take care. God bless each of you.